Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and I'm just going to do a quick video on the sprint race qualifying because surprisingly a few interesting things did happen. There was not a lot of overtaking, but the question is, was this a disaster for Mercedes, and is sprint race qualifying really worth the effort? So we'll discuss those two topics foremost. There may be other stuff, I can't really think of anything right now. Those were the two main points that we're going to cover. So remember to subscribe, getting very close to 500. I am actually preparing the videos for a 500 subscriber special week. And with that, let's begin.
Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
So, was this a disaster for Mercedes? It didn't go to plan, and they made it very clear that the plan was for Bottas and Hamilton to get away, and then team orders to let Hamilton through to maximise his championship position, give him the 3 points and pole position for tomorrow, whilst Bottas drops to the back of the grid for his penalty. So for him to have a bad start and drop down to, I think initially 6th before Gasly's accident, but then only really make it back up to 5th, which will be 4th tomorrow because of course Bottas drops down. It wasn't great. Bottas gets the 3 points, but he doesn't get to be on pole, which leaves Max Verstappen with 2 extra points over Lewis Hamilton, pole position tomorrow, and the 2 McLarens in between. For the race itself, I think it depends how quickly Lewis Hamilton can get past the McLarens. I think Mercedes definitely have an advantage, especially at this track. So my prediction is that Hamilton could still win. It really depends how quickly he can get past the McLarens. If he can get past them at the start, Verstappen will be in trouble. But if it takes a few laps, I think if he doesn't get past them by the first pit stop, then Verstappen has a chance of winning. Whereas if he does get past them both and then undercuts Verstappen, I think that will clear the way for a Lewis Hamilton victory. But it's very much on a knife edge. And of course, any troubles during the race, contact with someone or someone having a reliability issue, everything could change anyway. But for now, it's made the grid interesting. It looked like Red Bull were at a bit of a disadvantage, but clearly their race package is better than their qualifying package, and that makes it really, really hard to tell how much of an advantage Mercedes actually have. So we could see a Verstappen win, and that would of course really help his championship. As to everything else, Bottas, he's going to be starting last. For Mercedes' sake, he needs to work his way up into the points. Given how he has driven this year, I can maybe see him getting to the tail end, maybe behind the Ferraris, so probably something like 7th or 8th. For Perez as well, I can see him working his way up a bit, but I can't really see any higher than 5th, which would probably be a good result for Red Bull to have if they can get their drivers 1st and 5th with Mercedes behind both of them. So like Hamilton 2nd and Bottas 8th or something. That's a good step in the constructors for Red Bull, and it keeps things very, very close. Not only for 1st and 2nd, but the battle for 3rd as well between Bottas, Norris and Perez. I think McLaren should start maybe giving Norris number 1 driver. Give him, Ricciardo as backup. If it comes to it in this race, if Norris could slip past Ricciardo at some point, it's all the better for him. And it would be great to see him finish 3rd in the championship in a McLaren. Very much unexpected this year, but the possibility is there. Neither Bottas or Perez are as consistent as their teammates, so it's only going to take a few slip-ups here and there, which they've already had this season, for Norris to actually get what would be probably the biggest results on the grid. Verstappen and Hamilton should be fighting for the championship. Norris should not be in a fight for 3rd, and he is. That's how fantastic he's done this year. As for everything else with sprint race qualifying, there wasn't loads. Gasly was very, very unlucky. He made a great start just a tiny bit of contact, and then he was off. We saw Kubica and Tsunoda make contact as well. Doesn't look like there's a lot of damage done, but both of them were going to be starting towards the back anyway. Alonso looked quick, but he couldn't get past Stroll. That'll be interesting to see play out tomorrow, but the Alpine of Alonso definitely looks like a car worthy of a points finish. Giovinazzi, very happy with his performances. 2 Q3s in a row. He's going to be starting in 8th. Probably his best start of the year, or unless he started 7th at the last race, I can't remember. It might be too little too late for him, but at least he's showing he did have a little bit of something, and Formula 1 might be missing out if he does get kicked out of his seat. As to sprint race qualifying, I'm still not sure. I mean, this race was okay, and things happened, and it has led to an intriguing grid tomorrow. I'm not sure about the necessity of it. It's fun every now and again, and maybe if they do what we're doing this year, just having the odd one here and there, maybe maximum of 3 a year, then it's fine. But I'm not thrilled by it. I don't think it necessarily needs to exist. Again, 18 laps, there wasn't a lot of overtaking. I just don't think this suits Formula 1. I think, you can have this in touring cars and GT racing where cars can run closer, they tend to make a little bit of contact here and there. Things can happen with that. It probably would lead to a more mixed up grid in a touring car race than it does in Formula 1, where the strategy tends to lead towards the long game. In Formula 1, you're not necessarily thinking 5 laps ahead, 10 laps ahead, 18 laps ahead. You're thinking 30 or 40 laps ahead. Those second round of pit stops, you're kind of planning from the start of the race, and it constantly changes throughout. It's definitely more about playing the long game than a sprint race. In a sprint race with cars that can't really overtake each other, you're just getting a preview of the first stint tomorrow. So I'm not amazed by them so far. They've had things happen in them which make them an intriguing prospect. As I said, the grid for tomorrow is very, very interesting, and it leads to a lot of speculation and thinking and probably strategizing on the team's parts for what's going to happen in tomorrow's race, but no more than what qualifying would have done as well. So we'll have to see. I mean, I think we've only got one more sprint qualifying this year, and it's fine, but I don't want to see this at every race. I don't even want to see it at half the races. Every now and again I can put up with it, but I don't want it to be qualifying's fine. Just keep qualifying as it is. You can make it shorter, in fact. I know it's for the fans in attendance as well, and it's another race in the weekend, and there's a little bit more of an interesting thing here and there, but I just don't think this is necessary. But for tomorrow's race, I'm thinking this could be a Lewis Hamilton victory still, but Max Verstappen has every chance as well. The championship is very tight. It's probably been a good year. I'm still stuck on a lot of the races haven't been very exciting, but they have led to very interesting results and a very interesting championship. I think I'll go back to what I said at the start of this year, in that whilst the races aren't very exciting, it's almost worth just checking the championship standings after every race, just because that's where the interest lies. I'm hopeful that Max Verstappen will win. I think, it's really in Red Bull's court at the moment. They are the informed team. This is technically Max Verstappen's 3rd pole in a row. He's had the majority of pole positions this year. He's won more races than anyone else. If he can keep that going, I'll be very, very happy for him. But I'm expecting Lewis Hamilton to probably win a couple more by the end of the year, so the championship is definitely not over yet. And I will be back tomorrow with a review of the Italian Grand Prix. So make sure you subscribe, leave a like and a comment. Leave your thoughts below on both the Mercedes situation. Was this a disaster? Tell me what you think about sprint race qualifying. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.